Okay, these are some questions I found on Quora.com. And first question is, what is the most effective yet efficient way to get rich?
I think the first
Okay.
thing ever you need to get rich is to have a great mindset. Mindset is everything. If you're going to act poor, if you're going to act average, you're going to have average results. Like if you want to be rich, you have to think like that. It's same like the book Think and Grow Rich.
I would say the most effective way to an efficient way to get rich is to actually learn and study the rich people. People who have become rich actually have some certain behaviors, characteristics, and lifestyle routines in them that actually made them rich. Without those characteristics, no, it's difficult for any normal person to just try and wing their way to becoming rich. They have to actually embody that rich lifestyle, successful lifestyle, those characteristics in themselves. Otherwise, it's going to be whatever they try, no, they'll not be able to succeed and actually see results in their real life. So better first thing is they need to start reading books that actually embody rich mindset, and it programs them to think like a successful person. So that is the first thing
Exactly.
that they need to do. Next is to actually find a group of 3 to 5 people who are actually aspiring to be rich, or go and be a part of a group that actually are rich and they have that certain standards that they actually adhere to. So sticking to and, and hanging around people of that nature would actually enable, it will actually spark you or will trigger you to think and act like a rich person. So first thing is to even, I would suggest people to read the book Think and Grow Rich. It's been picked by a lot of people who are commoners and who are ordinary people. And there are a lot of people who have actually studied that book and have thought their way into riches. It's more about thinking than thinking, acting, being, and then they'll become. Once they start embodying that characteristics into their lifestyle, they start becoming. They're on the path to becoming rich. If you'd like to add any points, you can add.
Yeah, so my take on this would be like we are not actually talking only business here or only about money. Getting rich, it could be in any sense. It could be like rich with knowledge, it could be rich with some good deeds, or whether rich with money. Yeah, all that is there. So what I will say is like whatever, first you need to find something that you're actually passionate about doing. And if you want to be good in that area, you actually need to model someone. You need to look up to some people who have actually done that thing, and you have to consume from them, also learn from them, as well as you need to actually practice that. I mean, giving out more. So only when you keep sharing out, or give a more of like what you actually love to do, I think you can get rich in any way, whether it's through sharing information. So I think money, all it's something that actually follows later, whether it's money, or let's say if you want to get uh, good health, if you want to be rich with health, right? So the more you actually try to work out, I think that will help you actually get that better body, right? I mean, yeah, some way you have to contribute, you have to give out something. So I don't know if I made sense, but this is what is my take on that.
Question number 2 is, what exactly stops people from having the life they want?
So if I have to say, like the most common thing that actually stops people, or even from my experience, if I should say, it would be actually like dwelling on other people's opinion, or sometimes actually being comfortable with wherever we are. See, actually, the times when we are comfortable with wherever we are, right, in any position of our life, be it in our finances, or be it in our spirituality, or be it in our health. So we actually, I mean, that's where we actually stop growing. Okay, because we do not progress in that area. Because let's say, I mean, change is something that is automatic. Definitely there will be change if you don't, let's say, for example, in this lockdown, if you don't work out, your body, obviously it's going to change. You're going to get heavier. I mean, you're going to get gain weight.
Yep.
Change is automatic. Okay, but then you will not progress anything. I mean, you will not, uh, I mean, if you want a good body, you're not going to be able to do, uh, get that good, good shape without actually doing something. So yeah, these two are common things which I think is actually that actually stops people from having a life of, I mean, what kind of life they want, right? Whether it's being rich or like being in a good health, or whether being filled with knowledge. Yeah, dwelling on their own dwelling on other people's opinion. And the second is like being comfortable in whatever position they are right now.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
agree to the second point a lot, because a lot of people are just comfortable where they are. If they hate the job, they're sticking with the job. If they hate the relationship that they're in, they're sticking with it. They're not afraid to make the move to do the next thing that needs to be done. And another thing that I find a lot of people actually are struggling, are in the same place where they want in life, but they're not able to actually do it, is because um, they are trying to blame the past, what has happened in the past. No, if they're dwelling too much on the past, they're not able to actually unplug themselves from the past and actually be present and then think about the future, what they actually want to do in life. And sometimes a lot of people don't even take time to sit down, take a piece of paper and write down, actually this is what my ideal life is, and this is what I want to do, this is what I want to pursue, or this is what I want to be, I see myself doing. A lot of people don't take the time to do that. So a lot of mindset issues is the bigger issue, that for people who are actually not able to
Yeah,
pursue
and
what they
also
want.
because there is no longing or need actually for them. They don't have any kind of, you know a need to actually reach somewhere, or they don't have any goals to actually achieve. So I think that is also another thing. I mean, they are where they are just like that. I mean, because they don't have anything to look forward to, or becoming better version of themselves, or yeah, that is also one thing which I wanted to add.
Yeah,
One of the other things I really wanted to add is we cannot please everybody. So when we are actually wanting to live the life that we want, we sometimes have to let go what we have, and we cannot be comfortable with our relationship. And if there is a certain relationships that we have to let go, we have to let go. And the common mind that people have is, what if I post this and my peers do not like? What if they comment on that? Am I really going to hurt them? Or am I really going to, are they not going to talk to me anymore? Right? So pleasing people is people are not getting so comfortable. So I think that mindset really has to break through. If you really want to go ahead in life, we really have to look at what we want, and we have to be real and open with ourselves, telling that, hey, this is who I am. And the people that you who are relating to who you are will definitely meet you on the way. And pleasing everybody on the way is going to take you years and years of time to actually, that keeps you away from your team. So I think this is one of the main factors.
third question is, what is the core difference between the mindset of an entrepreneur and a salaried person?
I'll share what I strongly believe, or like what I know about this. So entrepreneurs are actually people who actually risk a lot. I mean, who are very eager to try new things. Like, they have a lot of excitement in their life. So in business or entrepreneurship, like, actually a lot of people who get into this, we know there is a lot of uncertainty in this, but that is actually something that drives us. Like, what is there if I do this? Like, what is on the other side? We have that kind of, what should I say, uh, a longing to know. We are actually creative, or we want to disrupt the normal way people think, or I mean, do their life, right? So and salaried people are actually some people who actually are very, like, what should I say, they are very, what can you call it, like fixed, right? Fixed mindset. They are people who have very fixed mindset, like, because the salary, everything is fixed. And like, they know, like, they just keep limiting themselves, right? Like, with so much money, if I have so much money, I'll do this. And like, they try to keep certain limits for anything and everything they do. Or even if they're thought, no, it's actually limited, or it's, they operate out of a fixed mindset. But entrepreneurs and business people, they're actually different. They don't have a fixed mindset, they have a growth mindset. where they want to try different things and experiment it, and like they they also like to network a lot with different people, because what they believe is the more you actually uh, connect with people, the more they say like this, right? Your network is your net worth. So
Yep.
there are some people, yeah, they are the people who actually network a lot, so that actually they can provide service or share whatever they have in the world, and actually that helps them achieve a lot of maybe financial success. And when you see in a salaried person's life, he every day goes to a job, he or she they go to a job, and every day they get to see almost the same people who sit with them for maybe for years. It could be on 30, 40
Yeah,
years, right?
good one.
So you're for 40 years you're seeing the same people. Okay, your salary is also almost the same, hardly it increases over time. So there is like very vast difference between these two. So generally, what I would say is the salaried people are someone who operate out of fixed mindset, and the entrepreneurs are actually the people who actually they operate out of a growth mindset thing,
Yeah.
and they are actually someone whom you can clearly say they want more to life. No, that's why
Yep.
they are willing to
Mhm.
try and experiment, do a lot of things. Like they know that they are capable of doing a lot of things, not just sitting and growing only in one area. In a job you might grow only in that particular field. If you're a software engineer, you might be an expert only that. But when it comes to business or entrepreneurship, you get to evolve massively. Like
Yeah.
you can actually grow in many areas of life. It could be whether disciplining yourself, because you're self disciplined there, you try to discipline yourself. Whereas in job, you already have scheduled, I mean, you've been scheduled by the boss or by a company, like what you need to be doing and all that. But in entrepreneurship, it's self discipline. It's like, I will go for what I want, not for what I will not go for anybody like who tells me from their opinion like what they want. Like whatever I want to achieve, it's for me. So this is what I want to share regarding this question which you asked
To me, no. To me, what
about
I
the
find,
mindset.
the difference between an entrepreneur and a person who's employed by someone is, the person who's employed by someone is actually looking for security. Looking, I can go to a job, I can go work for a job. What if my parents ask me where are you working? I can say I'm working for someone. Then they'll ask you how much are you earning? They'll say I'm earning 50,000, 40,000, 60,000, and it becomes like a thing, status kind of a thing to answer to the parents. Whereas an entrepreneur is so comfortable to even play with uncertainty. Like entrepreneur, lot of entrepreneurs aren't even sure like what's going to happen next, but still they are able to face uncertainty. But whereas if you take a salaried person or an employed person, employee of some company, and you just put them in into an environment where they have to take risk, no, they will literally freak out and they'll flop sometimes. But an entrepreneur, even if he flops or something, he's bold and brave enough to go for whatever he wants. And a salaried person would actually think like, okay, how much am I going to make this month, next month, and am I going to get some promotion? I know obviously because they're capped at the salary bracket that they have in different roles in the company. But whereas an entrepreneur is like, I can actually become rich, I can multiply my profits, I can take certain portion of the money from here and I can invest it and I can grow my business. I can also ask people to invest my shares if I have anything, or he can do different projects within the his business to actually learn and test and see where his business can actually go. So all of this leads to he goes in the profit mindset. It's a very good concept of actually thinking that he's trying to expand his business, he's trying to expand his thing that he's doing. Whereas the person is working for a job, he's just thinking like, yeah, this is the job that I have to do, and I'm do it, I'll be there 9 to 5 and I'll check in, check out. By the time after that, he thinks about his life. Whereas the entrepreneur is fully focused on how to take this business from, for example, if he's starting now, he's at zero. In another year's time, he must be either at 2.5 or 5, something like that. And after 2 3 years, he should be somewhere close to 10. So basically, the growth mindset is what I see in all entrepreneurs. But not every entrepreneur is successful in start. It's like battling. It's kind of difficult for every entrepreneur to actually prove themselves successful, because they need to. An entrepreneur has to master a lot of skills like sales, marketing,
Yeah.
persuasion, no, closing
Yeah.
someone, pitching
Know how to
ideas.
sell. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you have created a product, you want to test that product and see whether it's working out or not. Sometimes you are also an entrepreneur. There are entrepreneurs of various kinds. People who are actually running startups. There are people who are actually doing internet marketing, internet businesses. Then there are people who are actually doing real physical retail businesses and all. So in various forms will be there. And there are entrepreneurs who actually provide products and sell it. There are entrepreneurs who actually do service based marketing. So it branches off into various different segments. So this, so each and every entrepreneur has to kind of learn the ropes of actually how to be successful by following others who are actually successful. So they'll kind of get the tips and tricks of how to do this or how to navigate that entrepreneurship world, no? So but a salaried person, in order to actually jump into entrepreneurship, they really need to change their mindset from thinking like I'm by the end of this month I'm going to get kind of a fixed month salary. Whereas an entrepreneur who's
Yeah.
actually starting a business, sometimes he'll put his entire life savings on the business, and sometimes it will be of no return. Sometimes he will compound he'll three times his investment or 10x his investment if he makes wise choices or does good deals. So there are a lot of components. The whole
Yeah.
game of it lies in the mindset. It lies in the ability to take risk. It lies in the ability to face uncertainty. It lies in the ability to actually be fearless and go like a badass person, no? So that
Yeah. So
certain core mindsets will actually, it's really separates an entrepreneur from an employee. Employee will think, you give
yeah.
me the work, I'll do this one, I'll do go away. But employee also doesn't even you will not see a lot of employees actually taking a lot of leadership roles, like taking the lead in anything that they want to do, unless there is a space and a place for them to actually take up leadership within their organization or whatever. Even if it is
Yeah.
a small startup also, everyone is limited to their whole thing. But if you see a startup kind of a thing, sometimes just because they don't have so many people into their organization, one person has to play the roles of a lot of one person has to play a lot of different roles. For example, when I was working in one of the previous jobs, I used to play the role of 200 employees. I used to take photographs, I used to design the website, I used to contact the sellers, I used to go pitch the products, I used to go do for sales, I used to do a lot of different things. I used to register the company, get it approved, then officially register the site, officially get it open a bank account. So I did a lot of different things. So I was able to understand the difference by running the show for the previous company that I was working in. So there's a lot of different. First thing comes in the ability to take massive risks, even if it fails. And there are other things like being able to test something and see whether it's working out or not. Because in
Yeah.
entrepreneurship, you don't know. You'll take risks. You will think this certain things will actually work out and produce this kind of a result. But at the end of the day, the outcomes are not guaranteed. You are just taking risk. And if it is proven to work out, it works out. Sometimes even what is proven to work out may not work for you. And to be able to adjust to that and adapt to that kind of a thing, and a salaried employee or an employee will kind of get pissed off, will not be able to take that heavy weight of loss or a failure. But
Yes.
an entrepreneur uh, goes through all that and finally is able to lay the groundwork of, okay, this is the foundation of entrepreneurship. You need to have the mindset, you need to have the confidence, you need to have the ability to do what you actually want to do and pursue it despite all the obstacles and challenges that come in the way. So there are a lot of differences between
So
a salaried and entrepreneur.
So the shortest answer to that question would be, because you asked what is the core difference between the mindset of an entrepreneur and a salaried person. So the shortest answer would be growth mindset and fixed mindset. Entrepreneurs have growth mindset, and salaried people actually have fixed mindset. So this is what I want to again like reiterate.
And what I'd
So
like
that
to add is everybody deserves a payday every day, not only at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Right. So I believe, like, looking at quarantine, I feel that everybody deserves a payday every day. Like,
Hmm.
so this gives an opportunity for everybody to look beyond their job, look beyond what they have been doing in the past few months, or past few years. Can I actually change? That's the kind of question a salaried person have to ask. Or what kind of things other people are doing so that, they're living better lives. Like, that's the question I have been asking myself every day. Why should I wait until end of the month, to get my salaries, or the kind of shift that made me from salary to being an entrepreneur mindset is being part of a networking group. I think BNI was like one solid place where I got to see, people coming in early, 7 o'clock. That's when, the mindset of waking up early, and then obviously for me to be a CEO of a company, I need to have, and I like to add to, Avinash and Jana saying that you need to get skilled in everything, not only in one thing. An entrepreneur is skilled in everything. He knows how to manage the team, when a funds come, where it should go, right? Like, how to do the payments, right? So every example, to earn $1 million is going to require a certain set of skills, but to upskill that is, you need to have even more greater skills, right? So entrepreneur mindset is obviously looking at 1 year, 1 month, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years down the line. Entrepreneur is just like he's waiting for 1 year down the line. Okay, if I do this, I'm just going to earn 1.5 increase in my percentage. That's all is looking at. So for me, I'm happy that I'm at an entrepreneur mindset right now. I know at this moment, I know what I should do, what I shouldn't do, what skills I really need to improve on. I think it's great to have an entrepreneur mindset. So in this quarantine, I believe people should ask that kind of questions.
The next question is, what is the best money advice you can give someone? I would say
Okay.
the best money
So
advice I would give someone is to actually learn how money works, how to make money. And another core thing that a lot of people in the youth actually ignore is to save money. So that's also another thing, and how to multiply money. If you learn these core things, I think these three foundational elements, it will take you to riches and wealth and all.
I would
okay,
recommend the
and
book. I would recommend the book, The Richest Man in Babylon. That book totally has changed the way how I look at finances. When money come in, I know what I exactly have to be doing, right? So I would definitely recommend The Richest Man in Babylon, like in terms of finances. And obviously, saving is one major factor, and also multiplying. There are some people who keep it and wait for years to make the money grow. There are people who multiply, take the little money and multiply 2x, 3x, or 10x. So for me personally, I've been learning how to save. I've been learning even how to multiply.
so I think the best money advice which I can give is I don't feel like you don't have to just save to just save. You actually have to save to invest. Okay, I mean whichever phase in life you are, whether you're making little money or more money. So whatever it is, whenever you get your money back, I mean earn your money. So the first thing I would say is save, also save to invest, not just keep it in the bank, because ultimately over the years the cost of living, or you know anything that we buy, the price of everything is going to increase anyway. So that is not going to save you a lot, or it's not going to help you much. So what I would say is, even if you save it, but you just save also to invest, so that you can actually multiply, you can grow your money, right? So, and one of the best advice that I can also give is from Grant Cardone's book, when he says whenever money comes to you, you actually need to get rid of it. Because if you try to keep a lot of money with you, you might end up spending it, right? I mean
Yeah.
ultimately most of us, we actually end up doing that. Okay, so the best thing is, as soon as the money comes, you have to get rid of it. Get rid of it in the sense, like, put it to work. Don't let it sit simply somewhere in your pocket or in your bank account. So if you do that, I think you can actually have a lot for your future, and you can actually use it for maybe in case of emergencies, or I mean whatever you want to use it for, right? Yeah, so that's the best money advice I think I can give to anyone that actually asks me.
I'd like to add to that. Make good money investing decisions. For example, if you're trying to get into entrepreneurship, you'll obviously want to learn how to do different things. So investing into certain things that will actually benefit will give you that ROI, or it is worth the investment.
Yeah.
It will actually teach you. Make good money investment decisions in terms of learning and investing in yourself. So take the money and don't let it. The best investment is to make the investment in yourself, because it will produce you 10x, 100x over the years. Yeah. So uh, you should be careful into investing in the right things actually that is proven, and actually a lot of people actually have benefited from it. So just by spending, a lot of people spend money, that common trait of everybody is spending, but something that will actually give you a return on investment, that will actually help you in the long term, just like investing in courses, investing in mentors, investing in books. And no, even the time that sometimes people equate time to money, no. So even the time that you spend on YouTube or social media, that's also, if you value it in terms of money, it's like you're spending. For example, there are a lot of people who actually waste a lot of time on YouTube or on Facebook or Instagram, just keep scrolling, liking, commenting, and and sometimes that will lead down the rabbit hole of insecurity, and all that things will keep popping up. But whereas if you value your money like a time, you will know, I don't want to waste my time here. I don't want to waste my, if would I waste my money here on this thing for such a long time, if it's not giving you an ROI or any kind of an investment, if you're not learning anything from it, I would say you should be aware of it and like withdraw yourself from that thing. So treat your time like equivalent to money. So you will start making wise decisions, like, and you'll get control of yourself and your routines and your habits. No, ultimately it's getting
Yes.
to know you. So the best money investment is making
Yeah.
yourself, which will produce you 10 to
And
100x plus
I
return.
want to add to that, like which you said, that was very nice. Like you tried to actually relate money with time. Yeah. So actually, time is also a currency. So it's like it's already there in the reserves, or like we get every day 24 hours, right? So if I have to put a question to you this way, like, I mean, would you be willing to throw away some, like $1,000 or something into the river just like that, or anywhere, like which is going to get lost? I mean, most of us probably would not do that, right?
Yeah.
So the same way we should treat actually time also just like that. We cannot, simply throw away time like that. So time is also very valuable, or the most valuable currency, I should say.
What are some of the best life-changing books you have read?
So for me personally, honestly, I've read a lot of books, but few things that genuinely actually, I mean, has taught me a lot. So I will share like three books, I think. So one among them is um, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, which is
Okay.
written by Richard Bach. So in that, actually, there's a story about a seagull. Okay, it didn't want to live normal life like how the other seagulls lived. So it wanted to explore its full potential. So I would recommend anyone like listening to this to actually go read that book, and you will actually you see how that young seagull, it actually did something that nobody else is doing in the society or in its own community. So it wanted to stand out and it wanted to experience its full potential. So like what I believe is like we are all we can actually operate a lot more than how much we are actually operating right now, because we haven't actually unlock that full potential of how much we are capable of doing. Okay, so I believe there is definitely more to life, or like there is more we can do, I mean, with using our potential than what we are actually currently doing now. And the other book which actually uh, taught me good things is the book called The Alchemist. It's a very common or famous book, most of you have read it. But what I mean, this is one of the books that actually it got me hooked for a long time. It was like this is the only book which I was like I would never touch any other book until and unless I finish this book. Usually, what I do is if I read some book, I read some pages and then again I shift to other books and all. But when I read this book, this is something that in a straight stretch. I mean, not that continuously I finished the whole book in one sitting,
Mm.
but when I got this book in hand, this was the only book which I until I had finished it, I didn't touch any other book. And the best thing I learned from this is like actually you actually try to look for dreams, right? So you chase your dreams. I mean, you look at people here and there and you actually chase in very different ways, but actually at the end you get to know that everything is within ourselves.
Mm.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I would recommend people to read that also. So I cannot explain a lot here. And there's other book which is called Goals. I think it's by Brian Tracy. So goals are very important. I mean, they play a very important role in life because it is something that we actually look forward to, right? I mean, until unless we have something to look forward to, we cannot actually draw ourselves closer to that, right? If you want to eat something in a restaurant, you obviously you have to go there. Okay, I mean that's very simple. If you look forward to something, right, you actually will take actions or steps to actually get closer to that. So I really recommend that book also. That book has actually changed my perspective of how I should be uh, planning my life, or how I should be living my life. Like set particular goals and then go achieve it, because that's going to give you fulfillment. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial, in financial terms, but it could be in any other way, so that actually your life is fulfilling. So goals, that book is also very important, and it has actually impacted my life.
Okay. I'll say three books. You should read Think and Grow Rich, because it'll actually make you think, and it'll give you stories of different people who have thought their way to riches or to life successes. No, having all health, wealth, relationship, fulfillment, and everything. And so that is by Napoleon Hill. The next book is you need to read is Goals by Brian Tracy. It will actually make you think about goals and how to achieve them. So his life story in that book is very very inspiring. So he went from being dirt poor to being able to afford condominiums worth over $100,000 in the span of 1 year. So even when he failed, sometimes he used to take a piece of paper and write down goals. Like for example, he wanted to make $1,000 that month. He was able to make $1,000 that month just by writing the goals, and the universe started working according to his favor. So that is another book by Brian Tracy that you should read. It's called Goals. The third book I would suggest you to read is called Influence. It's by Robert Cialdini. How influence is being used in society, no, and how influence actually drives people to make decisions, and how influence is like a kind of a like a it's like a cream or a frosting on top of persuasion, no, or on top of sales or any kind of a thing that you're trying to do. Like it's like something kind of a subtle thing, but that is being nicely. It's like a tunnel that actually is able to carry water, or even if you're trying to transport something to a tunnel, something like that. It's like the entire core thing that actually is able to drive society. Everyone is being influenced by other people's opinions on media, on TV, on social media, or even if you talk to friends. If you hang out with a group of friends who are kind of poor and have that lazy mindset, or who complain a lot, the person who is more influential in that group will start influencing you of the ways that you actually think about things. And if he talks more about certain things, he's being convinced deeply that this is the kind of thing that should happen, and all his friends who have not thought about that will start to listen to him and start following him. That influence is there right from school, where the teacher actually has certain kind of influence. The principal has certain kind of influence on the kids, and the parents have influence on the kids when they come out, when they go home. And what if the kid actually watches movies? Movies have a way to actually persuade and influence someone and change their entire narrative of life. So the influence is a very big factor actually, that people need to, if they're aware of this, no, they will know the different cognitive biases that people actually try to portray on you, and have things happen their way. So if you pick up Influence by Robert Cialdini, you will learn a lot about how society works, how things work in life, and how you can actually influence people. Because once you influence someone, they actually are open to listening to you, and will do whatever you want them to do. So you can even organize an event by influence. If you turn on social media, if you tell people, hey guys, go watch this video that I have for you, it actually helps. It's going to talk about how to save money, how to get out of poverty, how to actually where to invest. So just by a word, and just by talking about certain factors like that, will have an influence on the people who are watching it. So definitely pick up Influence. It's going to change your way of thinking and all. And yeah, obviously there are many other books that will actually help you, but yeah, I'll stick to these three for now.
For me personally, first one is since I'm like more drawn to selling, I would recommend Grant Cardone books, The 10x Rule. It's really an amazing book where you get to read everything, all perspectives at one place, how to 10x everything in your relationship, finances, in your work life, and also personally, what are the things that what an average man is doing and what you have to do. And he also talks about time and a lot of other things. Secondly, I would recommend definitely Brian Tracy's book Goals. It's really amazing book where you set goals for not only today but 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, right? People who have these goals have purpose, like they know like this is what I really want to do, right? So that persuades them to actually set goals. And thirdly, I would definitely recommend Higher Status by Jason Capital. That's one book that has totally changed the way how I dress, how I address, how I have to remain calm during situations, how to actually influence people, and how when everybody goes to a lunch to a particular place, how to actually dress, and what are the other things that you should be doing. So basically, he says that even Grant Cardone says you do not have lunch with the people that do not help you grow. You find new people that help you, that you can learn from. Like half of them spend their time in lunch, finding people that whom they can talk with or with a client. And so this one, Jason Capital book have been like, influenced me a lot. And above all, yeah, Grant Cardone.
The next question is, what is the most clever like life hack you've learned?
I think it would be to follow your intuition, following your intuition, or something like, learn to make decisions for yourself.
Cool.
These are like some things that I actually have learned. Because see, when you take decisions for yourself, you get to learn a lot from that. Whether it might turn out right or wrong, but actually you're the one benefiting from that. And even if you see, if you don't decide for yourself, even that is a decision,
Yep.
and it turns out for
It's a
worse,
decision.
maybe, right? So whatever it is, like if you want to do well in life, or you want to change your life for better and all that, so it's, yeah, taking decisions for yourself, learning to take decisions for yourself, standing for respecting yourself enough to decide things for yourself, and actually following your gut, right, or your intuition. Yeah.
Yeah.
For
So
me, for
yeah,
me,
proceed.
sorry to interrupt, So for me, the best hack I ever learned is I'm thankful because as I'm also a salaried guy, right? So apart from selling only in logistics, I want to sell other products. So 9 to 5, work in a job, and then 7 to 11 work on the other things. So 7 to 11 work on a team, 7 to 12 work on a team. I obviously remember the times I went late home, but it has totally paid off for me. So that's an amazing app. I would recommend even to anybody who's watching this.
Okay. So here's one life hack that will actually help a lot of people who are watching this video. It is the ability to deal with people. Okay. When I was working in my previous, I think two organizations prior to where I was working, I think it was my second job or a third job. I think second job. I think yeah, it was my second job. In that, it was a big non-profit organization. The whole punch of working there was to actually learn. I was doing some kind of a. I was working there, and the the whole thing was to learn to deal with people. There were people who were who would present themselves very nice, but they behave in a different way. And there are people who actually will call you out randomly in the open. And if you don't have the ability to actually handle that kind of a thing, you're screwed. Sometimes you'll be put into a spot where that is not your problem, but they will loop you and they'll tie you into something like that, and they will push you in that position where you actually have to speak up and handle the situation. So it will come through a series of this person did this person did this, and this person did this, and why this person is not taking this matter to the top, whereas this person is getting blamed, and this person blame will fall on you. And how are you linked to all this, and how should you present yourself in such a way that the full situation is the problem is being solved, but people are not being affected. That's also um, the ability to deal with people, no, is the big thing. And sometimes when they do big uh, they'll call out people on their personal matters. So calling out people on personal matters in a public place or in the office area, and sometimes some people who are new to that, they will actually cringe and they will start talking about that. They start answering like as if they, that person, they owe them that answer. Whereas if you know, if you value yourself and you respect yourself so much, and you know that this is an inappropriate question to ask in a setting where there are a lot of people actually working, and you're loudly, that the other person is trying to ask you that question, if you don't have the ability to actually say a line to make them shut their mouth, so that they don't make that mistake again, that is kind of an essential hack where you know actually how to deal with people. People come in all shapes and sizes and various forms. They may look good on the outside, but they will look much more friendly in the beginning, but over times, no, they will take sides. They will go into different groups. They'll be part of this group, and where these group will try to make fun of other groups. The other groups will try to be an gang against this group. Sometimes they will if they are supposed to work with each other, they will act like friends and they will go work, but sometimes you will see them backstabbing like each other, no, in
Mm.
front. And a lot of things, they'll there's different faces. You'll get to know. One side they'll be very good, the other side they will be someone else you would never met before. And when it is matters of their team, they'll gang up and form. When it is a matters of some other person in their zone, then they'll everyone loads and dump the blame on the other person, and that person is screwed. And when that matter is taken to the someone in charge of the organization, then it is being dealt with something. It's being dealt with, what is that, in a public forum, no. And everybody gets to kind of look at that in a very negative kind of a way, putting kind of like putting that person down. So the ability to deal with people of all sorts, no, is a very essential life hack, because in future, in the wherever we meet, no, you will meet assholes, you will meet people who are very good, and then you will meet people who will trick you to being good. And then
Right.
and you'll actually meet people who are actually slimy, who will try to get into you to be friends, to actually extract something out of you and use it for their own advantage also. So you will meet a lot of people. So best thing is to actually learn how to deal with people, because this world is full of people. Technology or learning an entrepreneurial skill or making money, that can be learned. That is just a thing that you can learn. If you hang out with the right people, you learn that quickly. If you take a course, you learn that quickly. Find a mentor, he'll teach you. But the ability to actually read people, know their intentions, being able to actually know, judge the situation. Are they doing it right, or are they trying to fool around, or are they trying to trick someone else? So if that skill is not there in you, it's really hard to navigate the world, because anyone else can fool you and ride you and play you, use you and play you. So that kind of a thing, when someone has used you and played you, and at the end you are like a scapegoat or like a sheep who's being slaughtered, no, you are helpless and clueless. You'll not know what to do also. So I've seen that happen. I've seen it in different places. And sometimes, even if you, some people who are working in jobs right now, who are watching this video now, if you're working in jobs, if you are being mismanaged or being micromanaged by someone else who's your boss, and you're not able to voice your opinion, saying that this is my job description, and this is what I'm supposed to do. You're loading me with job, or you're asking me to complete things ahead of time, which is not actually the kind of standard, or you're trying to sidetrack me, or you're trying to misuse me, or use me as a tool, like a chess tool, to chess piece, to actually play their game in the big scenario, to benefit their thing. There are a lot of different things will happen in your life. Even if you go into relationship, a lot of people are being tricked into this thing also. You will meet people who will come with a pretty face, handsome looks, they have money. Sometimes they'll be nice to you, but till you've been with them and know their true character, and how they play in different situations, it's very difficult. Because see, for example, if you see Japanese people now, in order for them to actually do business deals with you, let me take from the business point of view. If they try to do business deals with an American or an European or an Indian, they do not directly jump into closing the deal right away. They will wait for some months or some maybe probably a year, because they want to trust you, because Japanese people have that close circle thing. Even
Definitely
Chinese
long
people have that
term,
close
long
circle
term.
thing. They want to see how you're actually doing well, how you're going to be with me throughout the years, because they're looking to form long-term relationships with you.
Yes,
Okay.
right.
And if you see that, even if you sometimes you should go on Robert Kiyosaki's channel. It's called the Rich Dad channel, and he talks about when once Patrick Bet David. Patrick Bet David is an entrepreneur who's running a company agency called PHP agency. It's called People Helping People. He's based out of Dallas, Texas. So once he interviews Robert Kiyosaki about how do you recruit people to work for you, and Robert Kiyosaki tells that the people who have actually worked for me, I don't take them in immediately. And when he inquires how long it has been since this person has worked with you, this lawyer has worked with you, this accountant has worked with you, this assistant has worked with you, he tells they have been there. Some have been there for 20 years, some have been there for 40 years. They require long-term commitment, because when shit hits the fan or when shit hits the roof, they don't want me this person. They don't want this their own trusted people to stab them and run away. So being able to trust people, form that true bond, like real buddies, no. Sometimes having that close friends, even in friendship also, sometimes it happens, no. Some people are friends for long term, suddenly something flips. Okay, they change their mode. They throw the entire so many years of friendship down the drain, and immediately they backstab. But these people who in Chinese or the Japanese people, they actually, no, they want to see how you are you going to be there in the long term for me, so that if you have my back, I'll have yours. That the ability to have that kind of friends is a very important thing. And people, colleagues and people, finding those kind of things. So the ability to read people, the ability to know, trust people, the ability to work with them, the ability to know, what do you call, being able to handle people's worst side, the ability to what is that, even if they throw curveballs at you, you're able to manage it, or you're able to quieten it down. You're able to handle when shit hits the fan or things get worse, no. So all these
Yeah.
things has to do with people skills and your ability to handle things at that moment, no, and be flexible. The ability to be flexible is actually going to take you a long way, even if things happen bad. But just because you trust that person once cheated on you, or that person has mismanaged some funds, or he borrowed some money and he didn't give back, but still you're able to trust that person because of his true nature. And, no, you're giving you grace to be a part of your circle, or be a friends or something like that, or be colleagues or friends of that nature. That will go a long way. Being able to be flexible is going to actually help a lot of people. If you're very rigid, no, you're going to lose a lot of people. That's also going to happen. But if you're flexible enough to accept people despite their flaws and all, no. But because I see that if you're trying to be friends with someone, and I try to have that. Recently, I came up with the thought of actually having the three chances rule, no. Meaning, first time also you get a chance, second time also you get a chance, third time you screw it means you're deliberately doing it. Meaning, if I allow another chance, the fourth time also you're going to repeat that. So patterns and behaviors of certain people actually keep on happening again and again. If you don't question them or give them a shock, no, why you are asking me this kind of a question. If you don't present them with that kind of a question to make them think, they will repeat the patterns. So there are a lot of things actually. So being able to read people and being able to be flexible is what I would summarize to. How do I acquire the millionaire
Okay.
mindset? I've heard a lot about getting the right mindset and the law of attraction, but I've heard no practical advice.
Okay. So what I would do is, I mean, see, the question is like, how do you acquire millionaire mindset?
Millionaire
So if
mindset.
you want to acquire millionaire mindset, you need to just model a millionaire. Okay. Modeling someone. If you want to be a great athlete, you need to model someone. How they work out, how they eat, how they practice. You know. So if you want to be a millionaire, you need to model someone. And the best thing I would say is look out for at least 3 people who are successful, or like who are actually in a position where you actually dream to be of. Okay, so even if one person is with 20 years of experience, when you actually, I mean, they should be having similarities. Okay, and if each person is worth 20 years of experience, you actually, like, you're able to learn from 60 years of experience, right? And try to model that. So actually that will help you, try to avoid some mistakes which they have committed in life, and you can learn from that, and you can actually acquire that kind of mindset. And about the law of attraction thing, some people believe this, some people may not believe this, but whatever it is, I mean, if you want to actually try that, so you just need to, I think, experiment it or learn from people who actually practice that. So whatever it is, if you want to acquire anything, any kind of mindset, you actually need to follow those kind of people. So yeah, modeling that kind of people, in that way maybe you definitely become that person of whom actually you're wanting to be. Yeah.
So for me, to have a millionaire mindset is to hang around people. For me, it started when going being part of networking groups. Right now, I have my clients during quarantine, they have invested at least 40 to 50 lakhs, like in this quarantine. So 3 to 4 years down the line, they are telling me that there's, the products are going to be worth in crores, right? Having people around you is really most important right now. If you are a salaried person, earning a 20 plus, 30 plus, 40 plus, if you really need to have the mindset, you really need to be hanging around people, or you need to be following people on social media. And I agree with Avinash saying that you really need to model some people. Yeah, I obviously follow a few people that I really need. Like selling for me is Grant Cardone. So every day I wake up, I read 10x rule. I go through, probably, how to sell. Like he has different courses. So each day I try to listen to whatever he has to say, right? Or the notes which I've taken in my diary. So obviously it's to model someone, and main importantly, the people you hang around with. They say if you hang around 5 millionaires, you'll definitely be one among them. Law of attraction, it has happened to me many times. I totally believe in that. And I believe in the power of writing. You write it down in I think Jana, last time you told me, we bought a book called Dream, Believe, Achieve Planner. Like I
Great.
made a goal, like I want to achieve 2 clients every month. And it has happened to me, right? I've been the person who made most number of sales in my logistics company than anybody else, right? So I believe in the power of writing. I got most referrals than anybody else, right? So
Nice.
I totally believe in that.
I'll let me tell you. Let me break it down very simply. The first thing is about mindset. Whether you want to become a millionaire or you want to do well in life, the first thing is to identify whether your mindset is kind of a negative mindset or a positive mindset. And in that, if you find out that your negative mindset, you need to know what are the factors that is actually influencing you to think that way. Because maybe it's a situation that you're in life now. Maybe your life is getting screwed badly. You're working a job that's paying you shitty, like really badly. Maybe you're not able to make money, or there are a lot of different factors that will actually affect you to make you think in a negative way. Or maybe you're hanging out with people like that, or maybe you're doing it to yourself also. That is a thing that will actually cause you to think in a negative mindset. But the positive mindset is kind of the right mindset to actually think into, because when you think of positive mindset, you think of possibilities, you think of ways that will actually work out for you. So life is happening for you, not to you. If you think in that way, whatever you experience now, whether it is like a roadblock or it is like a challenge for you, you know that this is just a thing that is going to teach me, or I'm going to learn something out of it. You're not just going to like be defensive when things like that happens. Like when challenges happen, you're trying to do something and it literally flops and fails in front of you, like badly, that people around you get to know about that, and you're being made fun of. If you're if it things, even if you're still ashamed of that, no, and you feel that it's bad and all, no, then you are probably kind of in the middle of the right mindset and the positive mindset and the negative mindset. And if you're keeping on self-sabotage, yeah, and I made the mistake, it's because of me. One thing is to accept personal responsibility, but the next thing is to actually move on to the next thing, that okay, what are the reasons that this has happened before, and what I need to correct to actually go into do the right thing. Then once you start thinking and acting and finding success, no, you will start, your mindset kind of will start to strengthen up. Okay. And the best way to actually incorporate right mindset is to actually start reading books that will actually make you think in that form way, because everything starts with the thought here. Thought will translate to emotions, and emotions and thought actually work like laser beam energy, you know. If you feel down, and how you feel right now will emotions will convince your mind that this is a, for example, you're in a shitty spot in life right now, Your emotions will convince your mind, because people are the emotion part sometimes it clouds your thoughts and emotions, thoughts and feelings, no thoughts and other things. Then you will start thinking in a negative way and you'll go down the drain. So that is not the best thing is to capture your take control of your emotions, take control of your mindset, and read, and actually constantly feed yourself with the right things, because what you feed is what you actually you become, or what you actually, it's like input output, no? What you feed is what you start to think about, and what you start to think about is most of the time is actually who you become. So it's like the L kind of thing. What you feed into your ears, eyes, what you into your body, everything will affect the way you think. If you eat shitty food, lazy food that makes you lazy or makes you fat, you will obviously start to feel that. And that is being being measured or being thermometered by the your emotions. Your emotions will tell you that I'm feeling lazy, I'm not feeling well, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling depressed. So if you're able to take control of EQ, emotional quotient, and if you're able to know that this is just a temporary phase that's happening, it's not like the main thing. And if you're able to feed yourself with the right information, you'll get in the right mindset. Then if you're being in the right mindset and hanging around with the right people or consuming the right information, you will start developing positive mindset or the right mindset, and the law of attraction will start working in your favor. Law of attraction is just you're attracting things in your life. And to what I've seen work for the law of attraction is to actually just think that this is going to manifest in my life. If you want something to happen in your life, you obviously need to attract it. But if you're trying to chase something, that will keep running away from you. Just like how you're trying to chase, you're trying to give I think you heard the story of the rabbit trying to eat the carrot, no? Yeah, so rabbit will try to chase the carrot and it will not be able to catch it or something like that. So in that sense, the law of attraction, you need to think of what actually you're going to attract in your life, no? What you actually want. Think of what you actually want, you'll be able to know, okay, this is what I want, and I embody that, I attract those things into my life. If you start feeling that and thinking that, no, you will obviously start attracting it. It will take its own divine timing. That is the thing about law of attraction. And to acquire the millionaire mindset, the first thing you need to think, you need to make $1 million. If you don't have the goal of making $1 million, you will not, your mind will not question yourself to think, okay, how can I make $1 million? And then you'll know, then next question you'll ask, how do actually millionaires make millions of dollars? Then what are the ways? Then you start going and studying them, because you are right now, you're here and you want to reach there, and you are here and you are in some other range of life. But the millionaire is here and that person has gone from here till there. They have also traversed the same path, okay, but they have done certain things that actually put them on the track to becoming a millionaire. That's what I would say, to actually to incorporate millionaire mindset is to read stuff that will actually make you think like a millionaire, act like a millionaire, behave like a millionaire, and take decisions and actions like a millionaire. So and it's millionaires actually do things on a constant basis. No, you don't directly jump from the start of the race. You do not directly land on the final. You have to go through the process, no? So you can if you read those books and hang out with get the advice of millionaires, no, you will obviously slowly adapt the millionaire mindset. Yeah. So the next question is, what kind of a mindset is common to every successful person?
Yeah, what I would say is almost every successful person has a growth mindset, and they are actually people who don't settle for average. It's like we discussed earlier also. So the mindset of a successful person or an entrepreneur is obviously, they operate out of growth mindset. They always are constantly looking for, growth in many aspects of their life. So then they don't want to settle for average, and they want to be great at everything they want to achieve or do, right? So that is the most common kind of mindset which I have seen in every successful person.
As far as I have seen successful people, they actually take actions daily. They have a routine, like they prime themselves for success, no? They have a journal, they write down their thoughts, emotions, so, and the agenda for the day, or the agenda for the year or for the month. So they actually know exactly what they want to achieve. Certain people, they have that certain discipline within themselves to actually, okay, this is what I want to do, this is why I want to be successful, and these are the things that I need to do to actually become a successful person. And they, from right from morning till night, no, they have certain disciplines and routines that they actually follow. Like for example, journaling or doing the morning routine. They take care of their health, they take care of the mindset, they take care of what information they need to study, or what they need to do for the day, or what businesses to actually do involve in, or what kind of a thing that they need to follow up with, or anything of that nature that will help them achieve success in whatever that they're looking to. And they do not allow negativity to come and creep in and take hold of their life. Because if they allow other people's opinions, other people's negative voices, other people's uh, sayings and so on, they will obviously, if they are weak in their mindset, if they have not done their work on their mindset, they will obviously, if they are weak, means they will actually start saying yes to them. The successful people actually values themselves more. Okay, they start valuing themselves, they value their agenda, they value themselves, they take care of themselves in such a way that they are like a priority. Putting themselves on priority is a thing. And if you hang out with successful people, they don't complain or bitch about other people. So they don't complain or bitch about other people. That is one thing. And successful people actually talk about ideas and what all they can do. Because if you hang out with the unsuccessful person, they are only looking at the problems and situations around them. They're not able to think far ahead. A successful person, despite if he's being in a bad situation right now at the moment, he believes that that's not the final destination. The successful person does not believe that that's the final destination. A final destination is something else, which is good. So despite that, they're able to think beyond what they can see, and they have the faith and beliefs that things will turn out better, and things are going to happen this way. It's my way or highway. So they have that unwavering belief. There are a lot of things that actually shape a successful person.
So for me, I think to sum it up really quickly, the mindset of a successful person is the way we look at his calendar. If you look at his calendar, he knows what he's going to do 1 month from now, which date, and he's also going to analyze his week. Example, he had a bad week, and he has to focus on something that those things, the coming week. He always journals. Like I today I saw a podcast with Ed Mylett, and he totally says about importance of journaling and the importance of knowing your calendars on what you're going to do 1 month from now, 2 months from now. I think that's a mindset that they carry. They know exactly what they're doing, and they know how to say no to things that are not going to align with their dreams. Like saying no is always sometimes very difficult, but I think that's the kind of mindset you really have to carry. That's what I learned from the podcast today, and journaling I've been doing. So I really need to look at what I'm doing in a week, sit and realize and what you've done in a week, and then so you can progress forward.
What mindset did you have in high school?
The mindset that I had in school is like, um, I always like felt that I deserved more, or I'm meant for greatness, or I'm meant for having things in abundance. Because most of the times, I mean, we are not taught a lot of things in school, but I don't know. I think it was natural for me or what, but I used to always think good about myself, or maybe I can, if I wanted to do something, I always have that kind of positivity in me that I will do it, I will achieve it. And that was the kind of mindset that I actually had during my school days. So I mean, I never used to think realistically, and I used to really think big, you know so I think that has actually helped me a lot to become a person like so far. I mean, what I am now, I'm definitely not, I haven't reached where I want to be, but it has actually helped me a lot. And I had that kind of mindset in school. I mean, that's why I took faster actions, I should say, than the rest of maybe my schoolmates, maybe in my, at least the people from my peer groups, right? So yeah, I had a mindset that I'm meant for more, or I can do more. Yeah. So that's what drove me so far, and I'm still uh, I still possess that kind of mindset.
Good.
Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Me, for me personally, I think it's just like everybody else, like school, and then you come to college, and then you think after coming to college, you think work is the final thing, and then once you come to work, you realize that that's not the end of it. You have a lot more things to deal with in life, right? So that's a mindset I carried. After my workplace, my workplace is where transformation happened. But before that, my mindset was really the same, just like everybody else.
Okay, I'll tell you how my mindset was in school. Okay, in my current batch, no, the kind of mindset was like only certain people were kind of like the popular kind of kids. Okay, and I didn't have so much confidence in myself. I just knew what I was, but I believed that through hard work or whatever, no, things are possible. So I had, in order to actually develop that kind of I think probably I definitely am. I was an introvert, like really really introvert at school. That you can, people who know me would know that. But over the years I've changed that. But because of being introvert and certain, like for example, if you see in my batch, there were teachers who are actually prioritizing certain students, okay, and putting them on a pedestal just because they were their favorite, no, and they were getting all the privileges and all. Then whereas if you see the people who are unsuccessful in the school, they are being left out, or if they were left out, or else they were brought together like students who are kind of weak in their ability to think or study. So they were being bracketed into different buckets. So that affected a lot of people. Okay, and that is in terms of studies. But I actually wasn't being I didn't find any proper role models at school or from anywhere, no, to actually have that mindset that anything is possible. I was not aware of that. But later when I stepped into entrepreneurship and all that things, and when I jumped on my own to do my own thing, that's when I learned a lot about myself. I learned about how things work. Even when I worked in the previous job where I shared about the organization that I worked in, I learned about people, hanging out with the people who are actually have that right mindset. Among all of that, no, some of my best friends there who I learned a lot. That's changed. Then when I watch videos of people like Gary Vee, people like Dan Log, people like Patrick Bet David, all those, and Ed Milet and all, and Bedros Kulin. If you watch those videos, certainly you will start to adopt the mindset that is actually not prevalent in India. In India, people are whatever they try to do, they kind of you don't get that kind of an appreciation, or you don't even get recognized. Kind of you're kind of lost in the herd. That's all that happens
Mm-hmm.
in most schools also. And if you're kind of skilled in that thing, they sort like for example our school, they put certain people only on the pedestal now. So that person gets the highlight. He's like the person who's the star quality, you know. So now when I've come to the real one, I'm seeing, no, I don't give a damn about that. I'm going to flip the script. I'm in charge of my life. I'm the creator of my own life. I'm the master of my own fate and the creator of my own destiny, you know. So I learned that concept from Think and Grow Rich. So you are in control, and the world owes you nothing, or even your parents. Sometimes you are, we all know what kind of social economic status our parents are in. So if you know that, sometimes they'll not push you to think beyond. Even sometimes they would have not even questioned you. For example, my family, they're not in questioned you. They will let you do what you want. And if I worked hard, for example, in my grade 10th, I wanted to surprise my parents, so I worked hard and I got a good grade. Then they started boasting about that to all the people. But when I came to 11th and 12th, which is my high school, that time, when I didn't put so much effort, there's nothing. They didn't even say positive. They didn't say negative also. They let it be just like that. So there was no kind of input from their side. It's not just to blame them, but what they could do, they did. They weren't so aggressive and all, but sometimes you need to question that also. Now when you think about it, you might question your parents parenting skills also, and where you studied, why you studied, did that actually help you? So yeah, there are a lot of I was different way back in school, but now, no, in order to actually get even get kind of that appreciation or something, some kind of a, I have some kind of ability in me, no, I had to learn something. Like for example, I had to learn guitar to actually kind of stand out. I have that kind of, at least I have that edge in me when compared to the thousands of the other students, no, other classmates. So I had to do something like that to actually have that kind of recognition. Otherwise, if you're getting lost in the crowd, and if you're the guy who was actually getting the fame and all, will actually kind of what is that, he'll be ruling. You will see that, and people hang out around him, and he'll be the person who's making friends. he's the person who's getting all the opportunities, the person who's being the favorites of everyone, whatever kind of thing that is. And even if he does a mistake, he gets by easily, just because he's the famous person or the known person, no. Whereas the other people who are not even known, you're like one among the crowd, no. And when you do something and suddenly your mistake is being called out, no, that will humiliate you like anything. And a lot of, just because it happened in one class, people get to know in all different classes. So a lot of different things have happened in school, but whole thing was I had to work so much on myself, on my mindset and all, no, change. Yeah. Okay, we'll go to the next question. How do I change my mindset? Okay. So
Yeah, this what I feel is it's almost similar to the other questions before. Like there was a previous question somebody had asked, like, how do I acquire a millionaire mindset? Yeah, it depends on what kind of mindset you want to have. I mean, the positive mindset, right mindset, whether it's the mindset of a millionaire or whether it's the mindset of an athlete. Like, ultimately, like for me, mindset itself is, there is two kind of mindset: growth mindset and fixed mindset. And this applies to like whatever you want to be. So uh, for example, if you want to have a millionaire mindset, a particular kind of mindset which actually you want to possess, right, you need to consume that kind of knowledge or content from that kind of people, and maybe that will help you develop your the way how they think, how to from what perspective you need to actually see things. And I think in that way you can actually change your mindset to, I mean, what kind of mindset you actually want to possess. Yeah, this would be my answer, very short.
if I were to give you the answer to how do you want to change your mindset, is to actually first be aware of what kind of a mindset you actually are in right now. Do you feel negative? Do you feel that everything's negative? Things are happening in a negative way, or things are happening in a positive way? You'll know which lane you're. Are you on the left or on the right? Left means you're still going. I would like you're on the right track or whatever. No, negative and positive. You will get to know. The next thing is to change your mindset is to actually feed yourself with the right mindset. The people who think in the positive way. No, if you're listening to positivity, your mind will also begin to think positively. And once your mind is beginning to think positively, you'll start to act positively. You'll converse with people in a positive way. Then opportunities also, you look at it in a positive way. But whereas if you are stuck in a stuck mindset, or like the mindset like fixed mindset, no, the world is only so much is possible in this world, or only so much is going to happen in my life like this. This is my reality. If you're just believing in what you are currently seeing, you are basically stuck in the fixed mindset. You're not thinking that things can grow or things can change or things will turn around. So the ability to change your mindset will come from feeding yourself so much and reading so much now, because you have to change the paradigm that is being programmed, or that dome that is inside your brain, no, the beliefs, the thoughts, the confidence about certain things, or the opinions about certain things. Everything has to change. It has to change by listening the right information. If you keep on listening to Gary's positive content, you will actually start to think in a positive way. And listen to Tony Robbins, your life will change. Keep consuming, because no, it is like kind of like motivation, no. When they say that motivation, if you it's like taking a bath. Motivation is like taking a bath. You need it every day. If you take bath once, the rest of the days you'll start to stink. Will get that kind of a bad smell. Same way for motivation, and same way for mindset. If you don't consume anything that is going to fuel a mindset and make it clad iron core, no, like solid, for simple things that keep coming in your way and simple disappointments, no, you'll fail. It's like thorn, no, you're walking and going, suddenly step on thorn. The thorn entered your shoe and it entered your feet also. And because of that constant piercing of the thorn, and you didn't even realize, just because you're just driving full highway or just walking without bothering about what's happening, no, if you're not realizing that thorn that is pricking you, and you're not taking it out. By this analogy, sir, you'll understand a person with the right mindset has to remove that thorn, or remove that thing that is actually affecting their life, or not helping them go in whatever direction that they want in life. But the person who's just going on like that, no, is just accepting life as in how it is happening to them. Okay, this is for example, they're trying to go for a job. Okay, they'll think they'll apply for a few jobs, and they'll, out of that, whatever they get, no, they will try to settle with whatever option that suits them best. But their dream job will be something else. For example, if they're actually trying to pursue a job, their dream job is something else, which is having a higher package, is giving too much different things. So this is the example of people who are trying to pursue a job, and they're settling for what they are not being what they actually want. Then that also is a compromise on the mindset. No, it's compromise on their values only, not on what they actually want. So the right mindset will all change from the way you listen to stuff, the way you feed your mind, the way you believe about certain things, the way you have confidence in yourself. Yeah. So start writing down how am I feeling right now, then how I actually want to feel in the other side. Then you will find out what do you feel is affecting me to think in this way, and the other side, what how should I feel? How do I want to feel? Then you'll know. At least on paper, you'll know this is how I'm feeling. This is how I want to feel. These are the things that are affecting me. Then these are the things that are I should be thinking about. That will actually help me jump from this lane to that lane. So the right mindset is a kind of I would picturize it kind of a different lane, like where super fast cars goes, no. And if you're driving in the lane which is crowded, full of traffic, and you in traffic, people usually I've seen people who complain and no, who keep shouting at the other people ahead. But people on the right mindset, no, they're still cool about that. So they adopt different strategies to go to the goal that they want to achieve or get ahead. So many things are there. So start with listening to the right stuff, because what goes into the ear is how you feed your mind, and what you read is also how you strengthen your mind. No, you set up the gates. Then how you start believing about that thing. If you do start believing that's not possible, you will not even act on what you read or what you listen to. If you think that is stupid, no, you will literally ditch yourself and you'll be in the same position. You're not progressing. The mindset of so basically change your way you are to the way you want to be. The way you want to be requires being someone else different than the person you are. So you will identify. Just do a small audit on yourself. You get to know.
I think most of it, Avinash and Jana, you have covered it. So to change a mindset is similar to, people have set boundaries within their mind that this is what my life is going to be,
Nice point.
and this is how, this is how I'm going to live, right? So people have to change that by asking right questions. Questions have really helped me. Can I do better than this? Can I have a better life? Can my family have a better life? Or can I do more than this? Can I give more? Right? So what are the other things other people are doing to achieve? So for me personally, I've been asking my questions myself, not as a sign of judgment, but a sign of analyzing, like which you told Jenna. Analyzing yourself is almost very important. Like, always be open to have a conversation with another person. Just ask him like, hey, how did you, and the thing is, the kind of mindset people have right now is they don't want to ask, they don't want to reach out and ask for help. Hey, I'm struggling through this. Hey, I'm going through this. Like, people think that, okay, if I ask him for help, it's a sign of weakness, right? But it's always a sign that you are actually growing. The more faster they say that if you want to go in the direction that you want faster, hang around people who are already going there. Because a person, when you ask a successful person, hey, I'm going through this problem, he will say, hey, I was at the moment when I was age 25, or is at this age, I was going the same problem. They're going to relate, these problems with you. So asking right questions is always definitely going to help you, and we have to break the boundaries of the limiting belief that we have in our mind. So that is one thing that like people really have to do. That has personally changed me.
Okay. The final question that I would ask, that I would read out to you is, what should be the mindset of a first-time entrepreneur?
Okay, very interesting question, and this is something that I also prepared myself for, and I'm actually practicing those. So I'll share maybe I'll share a few things from this. So when you're actually planning to get into entrepreneurship, so you need to actually be self-motivated, because nobody is going to do it for you. It's the decision which actually you have taken, right? You might be inspired by someone to get into entrepreneurship and all that, but still then like it's you who has actually decided to take that path. So if you're planning to get into entrepreneurship, you need to actually learn to self motivate yourself, and then you need to learn to save money, also invest money in your, I mean, whatever you're going to do, what kind of business you're going to pursue. And also you need to take advantage of all the resources that you have. Resources could be time, it could be money, or it could be whatever talent you have, right? So you need to bring all those things to use. I mean, you should not waste your resources. You know, uh, everybody is having resources. Everybody has, definitely some amount of time, some amount of money, some amount of talent. So we need to bring that. I mean, massively, you need to take action with that. You should not worry about whether you're going to do it wrong or right, but whatever you're going to do in that business, I mean, you have to with full energy, you have to use all those resources, you know, to whatever you're planning to do. And then you need to learn how to sell if you want to be an entrepreneur, because that is like one of the number one skills that every entrepreneurs need to possess. And then when you're beginning, you actually might want to work with some entrepreneurs so that you get to know how they operate in their
Yeah,
personal
that's
life
a
and
good
their
one.
business life, right? So, and then you also need to learn how to network with people, build connections, like build relationship with people, whether it's in personal life or whether it's in business life. And then you need to be able to also work more than any other people, especially if I, in what sense I'm trying to say is, you need to work more than the people who actually work in jobs. People working in job, I think they work for like 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Yeah, but entrepreneurs usually work from maybe 60 to 80 or even more. So you need to be in that kind of mindset if you're trying to pursue entrepreneurship. And then you need to research a lot and learn about actually what you're going to pursue in business, right? And you need to learn how to also build your audience, and also you need to get to know your strengths, and feed your strengths more, so that that becomes a very strong thing for you, and actually it will massively help you in your growth or in your business, right? Yeah, so these are the things which I wanted to share to those who are actually aspiring to be entrepreneurs or first time entrepreneurs, what kind of mindset you need to have. So these are few things which you actually need to look into. Yeah.
The first time entrepreneur, I would say the first time entrepreneur, no. Since you are jumping from a job, or there are a lot of, most entrepreneurs actually jump from a job and they try to pursue entrepreneurship. Now, being in a job is you're clocking in hours, no, 8 to, I mean, 9 to 5, or anything around that, like it maybe 8:30 to 6 or 9 to 6, something of that timing. But they're and they are comfortable, meaning they know that if I work for a certain number of days, by the end of the what is that month, you will get I'll get my pay. So they have that sense of security, that thing is there. But when you jump into entrepreneurship, then sense of security, you need to throw it out of the window. Which
Yeah,
means
true.
um, your ability to make money, all the skills are important, like sales, marketing, how to sell yourself, what products you sell, everything, making money, all those things are important. But the whole people who actually fail in entrepreneurship, or who jump into a new entrepreneurship or pursuing entrepreneurship for the first time, the ability to manage yourself is a very important skill, because you have to not be like an employee. You have to think like an entrepreneur, because
Hmm.
what you do is going to feed you. What you no what you don't do is going to affect you. And uh, and you need to be so careful of your time that you spend. For example, if most people jump into entrepreneurship now, they'll think it's easy. They're thinking like yeah, it's like passive. Initially most people have a wrong mindset about passive income. No, they think like, oh yeah, I can jump into it and immediately I'll start to make money. But if they don't do the proper research of whatever kind of business they're trying to get into, whether it's online entrepreneurship, offline entrepreneurship, or in the online spaces of doing so many different branches, like selling products, services, doing some selling different products and getting the commission, just like affiliate marketing. Or if it's offline also, trying to deal with different vendors and closing deals, or making like joint ventures and then taking a cut. Various forms of business models are there. Whether it's teaching, training, coaching, or setting up your own like what is that, physical brick and mortar store also. But whatever that kind of business is, you have to assess what are how the potential of the risk that you're going to take. Okay. And if you fail to do that work now, most people who actually get into the entrepreneurship, if they don't do that work now, first month they there will not be any results to show up at the end of the week, because now there are distractions like social media, then there are distractions like phone calls, there are a lot of different things, and you need to know the ability to procure money, no, like I mean sell something or make money, or do some kind of a thing that will actually whole thing ties down to business, no, your business skills and your personal skills about how to go about this, no. So the mindset of a first time entrepreneur should be, things, even if things don't work out, no, even if things don't work out, I will not give up, because I'm not working for someone. I'm the boss and I'm running the show. No, it's my business, I have to take care of it. You can't let it loose and be like, yeah, at the end of the month I'll make money. So you have to be proactive in taking it. For example, if you're providing some kind of a service, so your job will be to actually reach out to people who will be the eligible clients or potential clients for that kind of service, and out of that you will be selling to all these people. Like for example, you are selling a service on what is that, social media management or website design or something. For example, I'm taking this as a service, or you're trying to provide some kind of a consultation for the business. You will try to reach out to a lot of people. Out of that, you'll get rejection, and your ability to deal with that thing, that rejection, and being able to do so many tries, and out of that getting one win out of, like for example, you did 10 calls or something like that, or you met 10 people, out of that only one deal has closed. Your ability to handle that to that extent, no, and doing that every day, because that is business for you. If you are doing a service business, that is business for you. uh, and being able to understand what kind of business you're doing, and yeah, so because if you're working for a job, you are not doing any kind of heavy selling like this. So you literally have to change the entire game of getting into entrepreneurship. Mindset should be, you need to feed your mindset, because if your mindset is screwed, it will, the whole personal thing will reflect on your business only. Get the progress or the delay or the business growth will reflect on your business because of your personal issues. Most people drag their personal issues into the business. So being able to differentiate, okay, this is my personal time, this is business time also, and this is the amount of work that I need to put, and this is the result that I'm expecting, and what should I do to actually get the result, or make that money, or close the deal, or negotiate, or do that thing. So for first time entrepreneur, you have to think like an entrepreneur, because either learn from other entrepreneurs, be friends with them, and then what is that, model kind of similar something, model something similar uh, to their business, so that at least you'll have some kind of a framework, no, to actually work on your business or structure your business, because everyone's business is different. If you have something to model, you will have to at least have that base blueprint to model, then you can start structuring it however you want it to. And then yeah, so making money is one thing, being able to sell is another thing, then being able to manage your own self, manage your own time, manage your whatever resources that you have. With whatever resources that you have, how are you able to produce certain outcomes, like certain things that you want to achieve. That also is a core quality. And being ability to use the internet well, because right now we are living in an age where internet is in abundance. You can recharge, you can go on social media also, but if you're not able to manage that part of the, like just jumping on internet and getting pulled into someone else's world now, because as soon as you jump into entrepreneurship, you'll try to learn the ropes. When you're trying to learn the ropes, you might jump into different people's opinions or not. If you're listening to too many people, you're not able to focus on one thing and actually follow along, because there'll be in one particular industry, we'll have too many gurus or too many people who are experts. Now if you're listening to all of them, no, you'll not be able to decide which is the final information that I'm actually going to follow and actually implement in my business. Or so if you should narrow down to who is the ideal person that I need to study and follow and like duplicate or no model after. That is one thing. And yeah, and when things don't happen the way that you are, for example, you're working, suddenly if you have power issues, or your laptop doesn't work, or something got screwed, your ability to what is that, navigate that, no, despite that, and the ability to prioritize. For example, something happens bad, okay, in your agenda, something bad happens in your agenda, and you this full plan got screwed. The ability to be flexible and jump into something and then make that day productive, no, is going to be another thing that will actually help you. What is that? At least better manage your day, so that this thing ties to the outcome that you have. Everything's outcome driven. If you look at it in that way, no, you will know, okay, this is my goal, this is what I'll need to do. Rest of things is junk. You need to not focus on the non-important things. Remove that,
Hmm.
focus on the core things. Like, for example, when they say jump into entrepreneurship, no, you should, a lot of people, they'll say different things. But one of the core things is money making skill, no? This, I learned all these things laterally from different people. Nobody tells you that. They'll just, a lot of people leave you blank. Oh yeah, go run the race of entrepreneurship. And a lot of people are counting on you, know, when you're jumping into entrepreneurship. Your parents are counting on you. Maybe if someone is watching this is married or something like that, your better half is counting on you, no? And the if you tell the other people in your network or in your social media or in your friends, no, they'll also keep asking you what's happening with your entrepreneurship. And if things are not happening well, your ability to answer that question also, and what is the current situation, your ability to accept reality, no, if it is shit is going bad, like things are happening really bad, you're able to accept that reality and then make changes and adapt to what is actually working for you, what will work, what is working for others, so that it can work for me. It's a very good mindset to adapt. So there are a lot of things. So take control of yourself, then take control, learn the business side of things that will actually help you. No, separate yourself from the business and so on. Then you, once you plug yourself into the business, no, you're just because you have been worked on yourself and you know yourself so well, no, you know your strengths, you know where you have to outsource or do something, or you can also learn that you have the bandwidth to learn that thing. And then once you jump into entrepreneurship, you will be able to handle a lot of unknown things. The ability to handle unknown
Hmm.
things, uh, uncertainties, is a powerful skill of an entrepreneur, because everything, things are unknown in this world. And if you're just thinking things will work out like this, no, even if it takes a lot of time, and if you get disappointed and you're still not able to pursue that, that's also another thing, no? So sometimes, what if you give up? Everything comes ties down to your personal, how you believe in yourself, how you believe about the business thing that you're trying to do. So a lot of core points are there about first time entrepreneur. So hang out with the, either find some people who can model and narrow down to what you want to achieve first stage. No, this is my first achievement, then second achievement, third achievement. Something small to do is the best way to go. Take small steps of action and take daily actions, because you never know what will work, what will flop. Because something will would have worked for someone else, and the same thing will not work for you. Like, for example, if you see when people are trying to make money online, a lot of people say, yeah, go sell your service on Fiverr. You heard of Fiverr.com is a place where you can actually sell services. But what if you less, your service is worth so much, and just because you're a newbie, you don't have the star rating, you will have, you'll be, if you're compromising on that service for selling it for $5, but which is worth like thousands of dollars, or even a $500 something job, and you're compromising for the $5, it is definitely not worth the while. No, you will have to adapt and change the strategy of going ahead with, for example, directly approaching clients, or finding them on social media, or writing an email, or getting through networks, jumping on LinkedIn, finding the right person. Okay, this person is my ideal client. I think he'll need this service, because you'll open their website, you'll open their, you'll get to know about the business and you study them. So the ability to research is also another good thing that every budding entrepreneur, and the ability to learn things quickly and adapt it, implement, adapt, learn, adapt, implement it. So if you're not learning, you're not growing. That will happen down the lane, because you will see, if you're jumping into entrepreneurship, you will learn whatever I've told so far. You will experience it. You'll agree with me, and if you have more, share it with people that you are actually getting into entrepreneurship. Yeah.
For me, only two things. You got to have clarity on what you're going to sell, what you're going to do. And when things are not going your way, do not see another business and try to jump into that. That's one thing. Like, I see most of my friends and all have done. So once they get into that, they invest money in that. Again, it's not working. Again, they come back to the same business.
Shiny object
You got to
syndrome.
have clarity. Yeah. So have clarity what you're going to do. Like we all have. Like, I know that my thing is selling, and I know I'm going to do it for well. Like, Jana, that you're into digital marketing, and like Avinash, you want to do affiliate marketing, and many more other business, right? So we should have clarity on exactly what we really want to do. And secondly, what I'd like to say, for you have to be willing to make sacrifice. Your 9 to 5 job will only require you work only from 9 to 5. But when you come in as a first time entrepreneur, be prepared to be willing to work even till 9, 10, 11. Sometimes it requires you to wake up early, right? So you have to be willing to make those sacrifices, and do not directly go for the money. I think I would like to sum up in this: always take losses in the short term so you can go win in the long term. So many people who succeed, in a swift in the first 2 years have slowly come down in the last few years, right? So that's the kind of mindset you have to carry. Be prepared to willing to take the losses, and make sure you're the only one who's responsible, for your business. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, if you liked all these, if you liked the session, drop a comment and tell us the biggest takeaway that you found. What are questions that you are that is coming to your mind? Drop them in the comment below, so that next time we'll do another session where you will actually hear us talk, give insights, give our advice, and we will even refer you to certain different people that we know, or we'll guide you through certain books, or we will talk about certain mindsets that you need to believe in or actually adopt. No, the ability to adapt and learn and grow. If you are able to have that simple thing, keep things simple, a lot of different things will keep coming up. So if you like these questions, no, drop a comment below this video, and then let us know what you liked, how should we improve for the next session, and what are the questions that you have now. Keep dropping it. So we'd love to hear all of you who are watching this to actually drop your questions below, and share this, because some nuggets of this information will be valuable to someone else, and it will help them a lot. One share, it's not going to, it'll take some few seconds to share it on social media or somewhere else, and ask your friends to watch it. So yeah, so we'll take another question and answer session some other time in the next video. So till then, have a good day and God bless.
Thank you.